Here is why 95% of people, men and women, will not lose their belly fat. Stay with me here, okay? Going forward, there are things you have to do. I'm not saying you want to be a bodybuilder and get shredded, but let's assume that you do, or you wouldn't be on this video. But let's assume you want to get shredded or get down to 15%, 12%, 10% body fat. In order to do that, these are the 4 things I know people don't do, or that should they do. 1 is alcohol. The alcohol consumption for most men and women, most men, honestly, is completely insane to me. Okay, we're coming up on a time here where the Super Bowl is coming, and it's just going to wreak havoc on any diet. Anybody who has any kind of New Year's resolution plans for losing body fat go completely out of the window when the Super Bowl comes. I mean, for goodness, they want to make Monday a holiday after the Super Bowl. Right? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just hearing things. But point is alcohol can lead to other things. Your body breaks alcohol down differently. Whether one drink leads to 2, to 3, to 4, we start thinking outside the box, where then our body requests carbohydrates or food. We think of the science. There's science behind this, that we all get hungry as we drink more and more alcohol at the end of the night. We go for foods that we don't need or shouldn't be putting in here, right? It just wreaks havoc week after week after week, and then there's no results. I know people who go to the gym and they look exactly the same for months, and they're trying to lose body fat. They're running crazy amounts of treadmill work, okay? And, alcohol can be the biggest reason why that's not happening. So cut the alcohol. I'm not saying cut it out, but try to go extended periods of time without it. Try to go 90 days. And we're going to get into goals here in a minute, because that's another whole other part of this video, is making sure that you get your alcohol under control, okay? And you save it for occasions, 1 or 2, and really stick to it, right? Going into number 2 here is the gym, all right? Is maximizing the gym. Whether your gym's at home and you're doing all body workout, or you're at the gym lifting heavy shit, which you should be, because lifting heavy things, getting into the resistance training, is one of the biggest things you can do for fat loss long term. Is having strength, but lifting heavy things, doing compound lifts, such as squats, lunges, military press, bench presses, lat pull downs, things where you're using more than one joint, all right, is huge. Farmer carries with a heavy kettlebell, one arm at a time. I built my obliques to something incredibly satisfying by doing farmer carries, not with both kettlebells, because you got to hold one and then balance yourself walking around the gym. I'm just using this as one example when it comes to gym work. You can do that at home. Going into gym work is making sure that you do more walking, take more steps over pounding yourself to death with long-term cardio. Not saying don't do cardio, because cardio is great, but people get burned out from it. But walking and taking steps, getting to 5,000, 7,000 steps in between your workouts, and taking morning walks on an empty stomach is part of that gym work. Getting to 7,000, 10,000 steps a day. My sweet spot's 12,000. I know 12,000 will maintain my body weight somewhat, because it is a lot of extra calories that I burn walking 12,000 steps per day, 7 days a week. It just became a routine, right? And that leads me into number 3 is accountability. Is where my accountability for myself is getting to 10,000 steps a day. If it's 10 o'clock at night and I got 2,000 steps to go, I am walking, brushing my teeth. I'm doing whatever my accountability calendar says. But this is more about the actual nutrition side. Is starting to document your food. Start now. If you're not losing the body fat or losing, because belly fat, is the last thing to go on your body. It really is. It can be the last thing for most all of us. and it just sits there. Your pant sizes don't go down, right? There's nothing like going from a 38-inch waist or whatever your waist is at and then dropping 2 notches and then dropping 2 more, because that's one of the signs that your belly fat is decreasing. Your back fat is decreasing. Your oblique fat is decreasing. But in order to do that, your accountability has to get to a point where you are in a caloric deficit. You will not lose any fat on your body if you are not in a caloric deficit, a healthy one of 300 to 500 calories per day at some point, and staying there. But eating healthy by documenting your food maybe for 2 weeks and see what you actually eat, and then start cutting back and making protein first. 1 gram per pound of body weight in which the weight that you want to weigh. So if you weigh 220 and you want to be at 200 pounds, you want to eat 1 gram per pound of that body weight, which would be 200 grams of protein. Stick to that. Make that part of that accountability. And then build everything around it. Because that will help you maintain muscle while you are in a deficit. Clean fats will also help aid in that. It's a proven fact. Omega-3s and clean fat will help you do that, right? And leaving carbs for when they're needed. You don't need a surge of carbs at 6 o'clock in the morning from the coffee shops. You know who you are. No, you don't. You don't. If you're trying to lose body fat, that wreaks havoc. So again, the accountability. Start substituting things. Start substituting your sweeteners. Really, these are things you want to write down and start holding all your food accountable in a healthy way. I'm not saying skip great meals that you want to have maybe once a week. I'm saying go extended periods. Set, and I'm going to transition to this, goals. So, if you want to get down to 10%, let's say 15% body fat, and you're at 30, the first 10% body fat can be not easy. You can do that by mostly just going in a caloric deficit at 500 calories and walking and never going to the gym. You can really do that. That can really happen. Walking on an empty stomach for 30 minutes with no presence of food in your stomach. Where's your body pulling that energy from? It's pulling it from your fat reserves eventually. Fasting during that time. Incredible effects on losing body fat. I used a 20-hour split, a 20-hour fasting with no food, and then a 4-hour eating window, and I would eat 2,550 calories in that window. That was my goal. Because that walking, getting to 12,000 steps goal, helped me, especially I walked half of those on an empty stomach. In the morning, after my lifting workouts, I would do 10 minutes, nothing to break down my muscle anymore. But it is a system of goals that are small micro goals within the whole system. Yes, I said system, because it becomes part of a day-to-day system. You don't get in the car and drive on 3 wheels. The system doesn't work. The car won't go. It will go, but it won't function properly without 4 wheels on it. We know this. Backing out, we're just not going to happen. Same thing with plugging in the tires. Tire 1, diet. Tire 2, accountability for that diet. Number 3 is your gym sessions, whether they're at home or early at the gym, at a gym. And then number 4 there is the whole wrapping around is making sure you are held accountable for things you should not be doing. All right, not eliminating carbs. I'm talking about eliminating alcohol for a period of time. Eliminating all sugar for a week, or just going to 10 grams a day, right? Or going to, 10 grams a day is that, what is that? That's 70 grams a week. Go without sugar for 2 days and then eat 35 grams the one day. That's your goal. But setting those goals up to where you have the mental accountability to think about fat loss in a different way, because every diet you will be on will work if you are in a caloric deficit. You will not retain any muscle if you do not eat protein. Your body needs protein, the amino acids from protein, to sustain the muscle your body has. And to build new muscle, you need some form of carbs to help along the way. So if you want to do all of this at the same time, or you want to get super shredded, you have to do a lot of things in a 90-day period to make that happen. And a lot of it starts with that first month, is by holding yourself accountable, eliminating alcohol, figure your gym workout, meaning getting to the gym at least 2 to 3 times a week for lifting heavy shit. Yes, and make it routine, make it a plan, and progressively overload, right? Even if you don't, just get to the gym 3 times a week, 2 times a week, building to 3. And I promise you, in that 90 days, you might not get to 12%, 10% body fat, but I promise you, percentages will drop. That you have documented your food enough to know how much needs to go in here, right? And how much is going out, because your body is going to hold you accountable at that point. The accountability comes at the end of that 90 days. And that's why I have these 90-day challenges. I know challenges are crazy, but if you want to do a 90-day challenge with me, I'll take 10 people here. Comment challenge and I'll do it. I'll put it together. We do a challenge where we lose a certain amount of body fat combined together, or we go by percentages for each one. And the higher the percentage, at the end, we celebrate in a way that I won't even tell you. I'll just surprise you. Okay? So, subscribe today, like the video, watch this again. Seriously, give it to somebody you love, because this is it. I mean, not saying, again, that you want to be shredded in any way and get down to like 5% body fat, which is crazy. I got down to 8 and I thought it was overload for me. But it was great for a moment, for about 2 weeks. And then, I go between, let's say, 9 and 12 or 15 during the course of the year. But again, the system works. Avoiding alcohol, lowering my sugar intake, eating cleaner carbs, knowing when to eat fast carbs and slow burning carbs. There's times a day for that. I know it's not overcomplicated. We can just include it in. There's only so many meals we should be eating in a day anyway. I eat 4 meals, 2 big ones, 2 small ones. Each one of them are typically packed with about 40 to 50 grams of protein at any given point throughout that day, no matter what my eating window is. Again, goals. Those are my long-term goals. My long-term goal is to stay at above, not below 10% body fat, but at 10 or above, between 10 and 15. That's it. Because I know that is healthy, a healthy range for me to where I'm actually losing enough body fat, keeping the fat off. And if I happen to slip up, because life happens, vacations happen, holidays happen, everything happens. We have a holiday for everything, right? I'm making up a holiday right now. The Super Bowl, the day after Super Bowl, I don't know what we call it, but it's going to call something eventually. I promise you that will come. Again, like the video, comment below, and subscribe today. Please subscribe. Please. I'm trying to hit 1,000. Trust me, I'm going to throw a party later.